Hi, this is Jonna with Bee's Knees, and today I'm going to show you how to cut this adorable cardstock jelly bag using your Cricut. This jelly bag is perfect for gifting cute little gifts. It's perfect for giving party favors, and it's also wonderful. I use it mostly for gifting gift cards to give them a little something extra. Let's go ahead and get started. So you want to start by opening Cricut Design Space, and then we are going to upload the file. So it's already been downloaded somewhere onto your device or your computer. So let's go over to the upload button, hit the upload image, and go ahead and browse out to where you saved the file. Go ahead and open it, and we are going to hit the upload button, going to select it and add it to your canvas. And you notice you get this big stop. This is just telling you that you need to change these cut lines to score lines, but you are already here, so you don't have to worry about this. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the ungroup button, and that's going to release this, and this is going to allow you just to go ahead and delete that off, and we are left with our jelly bag. Now I have a bunch of different designs of the jelly bags. Doesn't matter what your design is, everything is the same. You're just going to have a different little design on the front, but it's all the same process. So what we want to do first is we want to go ahead and we want to select the lines. So they're all grouped together. So if I just come over to the layers panel and I select this one line, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to see that right now my operation is basic cut. I don't want that because that would cut my bag into pieces. And we don't want that. We just want to score it so it's easier to fold. So I'm going to come over here to basic cut, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to select score. So now what I want to do is, you could have done this previously. If so, great, you're a step ahead, but I want to ungroup it. Because what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to get to my actual big bag cutout itself. And I'm going to hit Control, and I'm going to also select my score lines, the lines I just turned into score lines. So with just those two and not my little layered snowflake, I'm going to come down and I'm going to hit Attach. So what that does, and don't worry, my little snowflake guys are still there, they're just behind this now, which that's no problem. But what I just did there is I made sure that I attach those score lines to the bag so it knows exactly where to score it. Let's talk about size for a second. This is as large as the bag can go to fit on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. You can make it smaller, just make sure you select everything before you change the size. But if you want it to be on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, it cannot go any larger. If you have Cricut Access, I am a Cricut contributing artist, which means you can follow me, and all of the images I've uploaded to Cricut are free for you to use. Now normally Cricut does not allow us to upload projects, but they're doing a special Christmas program where they are allowing us to upload some of our projects. So therefore you will see the snowflake jelly bag in Cricut Access that you can, as long as you remember, you can access and cut that for free. So I will put the link down below for my profile and this project, and you can bring that up and that will take you to this screen right here. So if you access this project through Cricut Access, the project is set up and ready to go for you. And again, I'll talk about sizing real quick. This is as large as it can be to cut on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. You can make it smaller, just make sure you move everything together so everything is sized proportionately, but you cannot make it bigger if you want it to fit on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So let's go ahead and make it. So here's my 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, and it's textured, so I like to put the side with the most texture face up because that will then be the outside of your bag when you fold it. So put it on your mat, and I always use my brayer to make sure my materials are pressed down so they don't move around when cutting, so I get a nice clean cut. And I'm using the setting cardstock for intricate cuts with more pressure. I'm gonna load it in, but the first step is to score. So you'll either want to use a scoring stylus or a scoring wheel. And since I'm using my Maker 3, I'm going to go ahead and use the scoring wheel. If you're using the stylus, it goes in A, and if you're using the wheel, you have to switch out your blade and put it in B. And then when you're done scoring, if you're using the wheel, just switch it out and put your blade back in. If you already have the stylus in, then just go ahead and hit the go button. Okay, so we're done cutting. So now what we'll want to do is flip the mat over and then carefully peel the mat away from the paper. Make sure it's pretty sturdy, but just make sure you're gentle depending on how sticky your mat is. I definitely recommend using the light grip mat. And then just pull out any little hangers that we have left behind. There shouldn't be many. Most of mine stick to my mat. And just a little cleaning hack too. I like to take my big extra large Cricut scraper and then just get under it and scrape those pieces right off so you don't have to pick them off one by one. And once you get your mat clean, we can cut those little layered snowflakes. So you don't need a ton of cardstock. I'm going to use glitter, so I'm going to use the glitter cardstock setting on my machine. And then we'll want to do the same thing with the glitter cardstock, flip it over and peel the mat away. And we have our two little snowflakes. So now that we have everything cut out, the assembly for this is actually pretty easy. So what I'm going to need are my pieces. I'm going to need, you don't need this, but I like to use this bone creaser. And then, of course, my favorite Bearly art glue. So what you're going to want to do first is identify which side is up or down. So when you peeled it off of your mat, this is the side that was up because you can see these score lines. Now what I just learned the other day, I was always folding into the score line. What you actually do is you flip it over, and where that crease is made, you fold that out. You don't fold it in toward it, you fold it out. So basically when you pull it off of your mat, what you want to do is flip it over because that's the outside. So what we'll want to do first is take your bone folder or a pencil or a ruler, and we'll want to curve the edges just a little bit. That'll help because this is curved, and that'll just help us when we're attaching it. Okay, great. And then remember with the creases that the Cricut made on the outside, then we are going to want to fold along the score lines. And I like to gradually do this. I don't go in and make the big crease immediately. I kind of bend it into the score line until I get to a point where I can then give it a nice crease. So I'm to that point, and I'm going to take my creaser tool And just run along that. And you can easily just use your finger too. And now you'll notice there are also score lines. I put score lines right here on these tabs just to make them easier to fold over, because that's what we want to do next. We're going to fold these tabs over and glue them to the inside right here. So that little score line just helps make the folding a little bit easier. Just like to put my nail there, bend it up against my nail, and it bends right on that score line. Now that we have everything folded, next we are going to glue it together. So how I like to do it is I like to take my glue and I put a dot on each little tab. Except the very last tab on the top, because I really like to make sure I take the time to get that one situated correctly. So I put the glue on and then I line it up. And it's easiest for me if I flip it over so I can press down against the ground. And then I just take it and I line it up against the edge. And I love this glue because you can, as it starts to tack, you can still move it and adjust it. So you can get a nice clean edge there. And you want to make sure, I'm pushing it back because you want to make sure it doesn't hang over, because you'll be able to see that if it does. So just work it as it dries and make sure it's lined up. And then once that's pretty dry, then I just take and I put my final dot on the top so I can really concentrate on that and glue it exactly where it needs to go, and hold that till it dries. And then I just repeat with all the sides. Okay, we have it all glued together. Now to add the finishing touch, our cute little glitter snowflakes.